Hello and welcome to Learn Math with Bola. Today we'll be learning the topic addition and subtraction of fractions. So let's go on and let's learn together. Addition and subtraction of fraction is similar to addition and subtraction of whole numbers. So adding fractions and adding whole numbers are very similar. It's just basically the same thing we are adding. The only difference is that we are adding fractions, which is different from whole numbers. So I did a video before explaining fractions, what fractions are, the types of fractions, so you can please check out that video to understand fractions and the basic principles of fractions. Fractions are in two forms. Don't forget, we have the types. This time we are talking about the form of the fraction, and we have the like fraction and the unlike fraction. We have like fraction and the unlike fraction. From the name like fractions, when we say something is alike, like they look alike, so that's just the basic explanation and meaning of what like fractions are. Like fractions are fractions that have the same denominators. So the denominators are the same, while the numerators may be different. So like fractions are fractions that have the same denominator. And examples include, we have 4/5 and 1/5. Looking at this, the denominators are the same, but the numerators are different. Another example is 7/9 and 3/9. Both have the same denominators, but the numerators are different. So a like fraction is a fraction that are similar, that look alike. They have the same denominators and different numerators. So that is what a like fraction is. An unlike fraction, the name like gives you an idea of they are similar, while when we say something is unlike, like they are not similar, they don't look alike. That is a simple explanation for unlike fractions. Unlike fractions are fractions that have different denominators. Unlike fractions are fractions that have different denominators. So the denominators are not the same. Even if the numerators are the same, it doesn't make them a like fraction. It is the denominator being the same that makes it a like fraction, while when the denominator is different, then it is an unlike fraction. An example, you have 1/3 and 5/10. The denominators are different. 3 is not the same thing as 10. So that is an example of an unlike fraction. Another example, 6/8 and 2/4. 6/8 and 2/4. 8 and 4 are not the same thing. So this is an unlike fractions. So a like fraction is a fraction that the denominators are the same, while an unlike fraction is a fraction that have different denominators. The denominators are not the same. If you don't understand what numerators are or what denominators are, please check out my previous video about fractions, where I explained what numerators are and what denominators are. Let's solve an example, because we are working with adding and subtracting fractions. So let's start with an example. We have 1/3 plus 1/3. This is a like fraction. This is a like fraction. So the fractions are, yes, they have the same denominators. Good. So they have the same denominators. So when you are solving this type of fraction, where you have a like fraction, it is very easy and straightforward, even though I believe every form of adding and subtracting fraction is easy irrespective of the type of the fraction, the form of the fraction. So we have 1 over 3 plus 1 over 3. This is straightforward. What we do is we make the LCM, we call it LCM, like a multiple of both of those numbers. But since they are the same, there's no point looking for an LCM or a multiple of the number. So we just go with, say, pick one out of the two. When I'm in the classroom and I want to explain this to my student, I just tell them, you have 2 3s there. They are the same number, so they can divide each other. So just pick one as the LCM and you add the numerators together. So you just say 1, which is the numerator for the first one, plus 1 for the second one. So we have 1 plus 1 up, then the denominator is 3. So just pick one out of the denominators whenever your denominator are the same. So we have 2, 1 plus 1, so that's how I got 2, which will give us 2 divided by 3. So that is our answer. So it's basically just saying 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, then divided by 3, which is one of the denominators. So very straightforward and easy. Then 5 over 8 plus 2 over 8. 5 over 8 plus 2 over 8. We are going to still use the same procedure. They have the same denominator. Whenever you are adding or subtracting a fraction, make it a point of duty to first check out the denominators, because the denominators are important. They have a lot of impact on the method you are going to use to solve your fraction. And for now, we are still working with like fractions. So we pick one out of the 2 denominators, then we go on to add the numerators together. So we have 5 plus 2, and that gives us 5 plus 2 is 7. So we have 7 over 8. So very simple, very straightforward again, as simple as ABC. So let's do this together. But before we do it together, try it on your own. So I'm going to count like 5 seconds because it's very, very simple. By now you should have, I think you would have gotten the answer. So let's solve it together. Don't forget, we are first checking out the denominators. The first one, the denominator is 12. The second one, the denominator is also 12. So good, we know that it is a like fraction. Then how do we add a like fraction? By first taking one of the denominators as our LCM. And don't forget I said LCM means lowest common multiple. So lowest common multiple. Then we add the numerators together. So we have 3 plus 9. Then we have 12 over 12, which is 1. Yes, I know some people are wondering, 1, where is 1 coming from? In the previous video, which I said you can always refer to understand fractions, 12 out of 12 means you are taking the whole shape. So like we said, if I say share an orange into 4 parts, if you share the orange into 4 parts and I decide, or probably I just say, oh, take the whole 4 parts that you share the orange, just take the 4, take it, don't worry, just take it, don't bother giving me out of it. That means you have still taken the whole orange, which is 1 orange. So that is just the logical or the basic explanation of something like this. So 12 over 12 is the same thing as 1. That means you are picking 12 out of 12. So basically you are just taking everything. So let's move on to subtraction of like fractions. We are still working with like fractions. 5 over 7 minus 1 over 7. So we have 5 over 7 minus 1 over 7. Very simple. It is still the same procedure with like fractions. So we are still going to follow the same procedure. We first work with the denominators, which are the same. So we pick 1 out of the 2 denominators and we have 7. So 5 minus 1, that will give us 4 over 7. So you can see it is straightforward. We have 5 minus 1 is 4 divided by the LCM, and don't forget I said LCM means lowest common multiple. Then we go on to the next example. The example is very easy too. We have 4 over 10 minus 2 over 10. We go by first picking out the LCM, which is what? 10. Then we have 4, which is the first numerator, minus the second numerator, which is 4 minus 2. Then 4 minus 2 will give us 2 over 10. I know sometimes someone may want to ask the question, why am I saying 4 minus 2? Why not 2 minus 4? The question is saying 4 minus 2. That is 4 over 10 minus 2 over 10. Don't forget that addition can either, you can rearrange addition, anyone can come first, it doesn't matter, you get the same answer. But in subtraction, it is important that you follow the order in which the numbers have been given or written. So you can't say 2 minus 4. If it was addition, we can say 2 plus 4, and 4 plus 2 will give you the same thing. So 4 minus 2 will give you 2, while 2 minus 4 will not still give you plus 2, even though the answer will be 2, but it will be a negative 2. So we move on and go to addition and subtraction of unlike fractions. So in this tutorial, I used a very simple method which I call the butterfly method. Whenever I want to use this method, I just tell my students, don't forget, just call this the butterfly method. So whenever you want to solve questions or fractions that you use this kind of method, just remember the butterfly method, and we'll see why it is the butterfly method. 1 over 5 plus 3 over 5, 3 over 4 rather, sorry. So don't forget, we are now dealing with unlike fractions. And why is it unlike fractions? Because the denominators are not the same. The first one has a denominator that is 5, while the second one is 4. So this is an unlike fraction. The method that I call the butterfly method, let's start drawing it little by little before it forms the butterfly. So we have 5 and 4 circled in green. What do we do? Because they are not the same, and sometimes when I have a 1-digit denominator, I prefer using this butterfly method for the students instead of them going through the rigors of doing the LCM, and which can sometimes be clumsy for some of these pupils. So especially for the lower basic classes, I just tell them, let's use this method. So 5 and 4, we multiply them together to get 20. 5 times 4. So we multiply the denominators together to get 20. So we have 5 times 4, which is 20. Then we go on. Can you see the circled color numbers in yellow, which is 1 and 4? So the numerator of the first one and the denominator of the second one, the same thing, we are multiplying them to have 1 times 4, which is what? 4. I'm hoping and I guess we are together. So let's move on to have the denominator of the first one and the numerator of the second one, which is what? 5 times 3. So we have 5 times 3, which is 15. So we move on from there to have our LCM. Can you see, before we go on, can you see the way the wings are flying around with that circling and joining some of those figure and numbers together? So we have a butterfly. So this is what I call the butterfly method. So you can only just put it in head in your memory. Anytime you see a fraction, when you're asked to add fractions together, just remember, oh, the butterfly method. And this also works for equivalent fraction and some other types of fraction. But for the purpose of this video, we are working with addition and subtraction. So the next step is very, very simple. It's just bringing the 20 as our LCM, then the 4 on the 4 comes in plus 15. So it's just straightforward that way. From there you can just go on and it's straightforward. So we have 5 times 4 is 20, 1 times 4 is 4, and 3 times 5 is 15. When you add that together, we have 19 over 20. So as simple as ABC. Let's take another example. Solve 2 over 6 plus 2 over 7. 2 over 6 plus 2 over 7. So like I said, we still use the butterfly method. And where do we start from? The denominators. So we'll circle them and we'll multiply them together. So 6 times 7 is 42. And 2 times 7 in yellow is 14. Don't mix it up. I've had situations where pupils in class mix them up. Some can just bring the 14 to the other side and bring the other one to the other side. And that is why I usually advise, if you are doing this in class, take a pencil. If you are using a pen, just take a pencil, and when you circle, use your pencil to write the values beside the circle like I did in the video. Then for the other side, the moment you circle the numbers you are multiplying, just write their answer beside it so that you won't mix it up. Now we have 2 times 6 is 12. In summary, we have 14. 42 as the LCM, then 14 plus 12, which is 26 over 42. So this butterfly method is very straightforward. There are other methods you can use, which I would make a video and I will show and I will post here in another video. I will use the other method in another video, but for this video I'm using just this butterfly method. Then we have 4 over 8 minus 2 over 5. 4 over 8 minus 2 over 5. So we have LCM as, or multiplying the denominators, if that is the LCM, or when you multiply the denominator you have 40. Then 4 times 5 is 20. 2 times 8 is 16. The next step is what? Bring 40 as the LCM. 20 minus 16, and that gives us 4 over 40. So very simple, just follow the steps. I say it every time, mathematics is all about following the steps. Once you follow the steps, then the sky is your limit. In fact, the sky is your starting point. So 6 over 7 minus 2 over 3. So 6 over 7 minus 2 over 3. 7 times 3 is 21. 6 times 3 is 18. 2 times 7 is 14. So let's start. 21 as the LCM, 6 and 3, 18, then 14. So what do? 18 minus 14, which will give us 4 over 21. So that brings us to the end of this tutorial. I hope you understood the topic. So thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and follow me on my social media platforms for more tutorials and more interesting videos. Thank you. Bye.